The wind tore through Hollow Creek Station like a wild animal, howling against the metal beams and rattling the old glass panes. Snow fell in thick, furious waves, blurring the world into a sheet of white. The few passengers, waiting for the delayed trains, huddled together inside the drafty building, except one. She stood alone at the far end of the platform, a woman in a thin nurse's uniform beneath a cheap winter coat. Her hands trembled, her lips were nearly blue, and her eyes, bright tired, but determined, stared down an empty track as if waiting for a miracle. Her name was Lila Hart, a 28-year-old nurse who had just finished a double shift in the trauma unit. She had spent the last 36 hours saving people from a highway pileup caused by the same deadly storm that now trapped her here, exhausted, freezing, and carrying a small suitcase with everything she owned. She prayed the last train would come. She needed to reach her dying grandmother's ranch in Montana before it was too late. But the announcement crackled through the old speakers. All outbound trains canceled due to extreme weather. Her shoulders sagged. She pressed a hand over her face as the wind sliced through her coat. Tears stung her eyes more from helplessness than cold. She had no money for a hotel, no car, no family nearby, just a suitcase, a fading hope, and a storm ready to swallow her whole. That was when headlights cut through the snow. A black pickup truck pulled up near the platform, big, gleaming and clearly out of place among the battered sedans. The door swung open and a tall man stepped out. Broad shoulders wrapped in a weathered shearling jacket, jeans dusted with snow, boots made for working land, not posing for photos. His hat shielded part of his face, but the rest was rugged, handsome, shaped by wind and sun. Wyatt Coleman, 36, the reclusive millionaire cattle rancher, a man rumored to be as cold as the Montana winters ever since tragedy, had carved a hollow through his heart. He was only at the station because he was picking up a rare piece of machinery for his ranch. Machinery that now also wouldn't arrive because of canceled trains. He was about to leave when he froze. Across the platform he saw her, a young woman shaking uncontrollably, holding her suitcase like a lifeline. She looked like hope had abandoned her, and something inside him shifted, something he thought had died years ago. Wyatt didn't walk toward her. He stormed, every step deliberate, boots echoing across the frozen platform. Lila didn't notice him until he was close enough for his shadow to fall over her. She flinched, startled. "Ma'am," he said, voice deep and gentle. "You're about 10 minutes from passing out. Come inside." She tried to smile, but her teeth chattered. I'm okay." "No, you ain't." He shrugged out of his heavy coat and draped it over her shoulders before she could protest. The warmth made her knees buckle. Why are you helping me?" she asked softly. "'Cause leaving you here would make me a fool and a coward," he said simply. "And I refuse to be either." He guided her into the truck where heat blasted from the vents. As she thawed, she finally spoke. "I'm trying to reach Willow Ridge. My grandmother's sick, very sick. I'm afraid I won't make it in time." Wyatt's jaw tightened. "I know Willow Ridge. Storm's too dangerous for the train, but not for me." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "I'll drive you." Her eyes widened. "Sir, that's hours away. The roads are terrible. You don't even know me. I don't have to know you to do what's right." She stared at him, stunned by the kindness of a man who looked like he made a habit of trusting no one. He held out a hand. "I'm Wyatt." "Lila." "All right, Lila." He put the truck in gear. "Let's get you home." The drive began in silence, broken only by the growl of the engine cutting through snow-packed roads. They moved slowly, tires gripping slick ice, but the man drove with a confidence born from years on rough terrain. Lila watched his hands on the steering wheel, steady, strong, sure. He could have turned around. He could have left her at the station like everyone else. But he didn't. "You saved people tonight," Wyatt said suddenly, eyes on the road. "I heard about the pileup." She looked surprised. "How did you—" "I've got ranch hands who passed by the hospital. Said the nurses worked like soldiers in a war zone." Her cheeks flushed. "I just did my job. Most folks wouldn't have lasted an hour in that mess." She looked at him. "You talk like you've seen hard things." He didn't answer for a long time. Then softly, "My wife died 5 years ago. Car accident, middle of winter. I couldn't get to her in time." Lila's heart clenched. "Wyatt, I'm so sorry." He nodded once, trying to bury the old ache. But something about Lila's gentle voice made it surface again. "You being stranded out there? I couldn't walk away. Not again." She touched his arm, lightly, respectfully. "You didn't fail her, Wyatt. You loved her. That matters." His throat tightened. No one had said that to him before. As the miles passed, they shared stories. Her tough childhood, her chosen career, his years building the ranch, his loneliness, her hidden fears. Two strangers from two different worlds, yet somehow their words fit together like pieces of a puzzle. By dawn, the storm had calmed. By dawn, they were no longer strangers. The sun was just rising. When they reached Willow Ridge Ranch, Lila's grandmother lived in an old farmhouse, tucked between snow-laden pines. Smoke drifted weakly from the chimney. Someone was still alive inside. Lila rushed out of the truck, slipped on ice, and Wyatt caught her before she fell. She didn't pause to thank him. She sprinted inside. Wyatt stayed outside, giving her space. After a moment, she reappeared in the doorway, tears streaming, this time not from fear or cold, but relief. "She's awake," Lila whispered. "She waited for me." "Good," he said with a warm smile. "Go on, be with her." Hours passed. Wyatt sat on the porch, snow crunching under his boots as he paced. He didn't know why he stayed. He just couldn't leave. Finally, Lila stepped outside. Her eyes were red but peaceful. "She passed," Lila said softly. I held her hand. "She knew I was there." She thanked me for coming." Wyatt pulled her into a quiet embrace. She didn't resist. She collapsed into his chest, letting herself cry freely, safely. When she finally looked up at him, something new shone between them. Not just gratitude. Not just comfort. Something dangerous, beautiful, real. "Wyatt," she whispered, "why did you really stay?" He cupped her face gently. "Because somewhere between Hollow Creek and here, I stopped wanting to walk away." Her breath hitched, and for the first time in years he let himself hope. Lila stayed in Willow Ridge to settle her grandmother's affairs. Wyatt returned every day, bringing food, firewood, fixing broken fences, refusing to let her grieve alone. The town began to talk. The millionaire cowboy who never opened his heart to anyone was suddenly different, softer, happier, alive again. One evening, a month later, he drove her to a hill overlooking his sprawling ranch. Snow glittered under a full moon. A quiet wind brushed past them. "This land," he said, looking out at the horizon, "I built it alone. But I don't want to live the rest of my life that way." She turned toward him, heart racing. He took her hands. "You showed up on a freezing platform, and somehow thawed 10 years of ice in one night. Lila Hart, I don't want this to end." Tears blurred her vision. "Wyatt." He dropped to one knee. "Will you stay? Will you build a life with me out here in the quiet, in the storms, in everything? Will you be the heart this ranch has been missing?" She covered her mouth, breath shaking. No man had ever looked at her the way he did, like she was not a burden, not a passing moment, but the very thing his life had been waiting for. "Yes," she whispered. Then louder, laughing, crying, "Yes, Wyatt, I will." He stood, pulled her into his arms, and kissed her as snowflakes swirled around them, soft, slow, like a blessing. Their marriage became a legend in Montana, a love story people told for decades. The millionaire cowboy who found a freezing nurse on a stormy night and never let her go. Their story made history not because of who they were, but because a moment of kindness changed two lives forever.